So what if you keep escaping the very process that was trying to mature you? James is still on this thread. And we're going to be looking at James 1:4 this morning. One of the hardest parts of spiritual growth is staying in the process long enough for it to actually change you. Because most people love breakthroughs and victories and peace and maturity and the stability. But very few of us enjoy the stretching and the waiting and the endurance that our walk calls for, or the emotional pressure, or the repeated surrenders, or the long development seasons that God has us working in. And James says something very deeply challenging. Let endurance have its perfect result. In other words, don't interrupt what God's trying to complete inside you. That hits hard emotionally because many believers unknowingly fight the very process that they prayed for. Because we pray, God, mature me. Strengthen my faith. Give me peace. Make me stable. But when pressure becomes uncomfortable, we often start searching for the escape. Endurance is trying to fully accomplish a work inside of you. That's what James is saying. Not partial, not surface, but a deep, complete work. And we all know when we start analyzing or start looking at our own psychological makeup and we start peeling the onion, it isn't always just the first answer, the first reason, or the first escape. There's thousands of little layers in there, it feels like, and we just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what God's doing. That's why we feel like we're always in something or always going through something or continuing to endure. Because he's like, no, layer 3 isn't deep enough. Let's get down to layer 4. You kind of understand? Okay, that was just my reaction answer. Layer 3 starts to get it, and he just keeps peeling until he's got us to the perfected layer that he wants us to be. And that's kind of what James is talking about. Maybe some of the frustration we feel spiritually is not because God stopped working, but because we keep emotionally stepping out of the process too early. I mean, we all know people. There's a situation, a challenge, a little disagreement. Let's not call them arguments. Little disagreement. And there's people that will scream and holler their way through. And there's people that will turn and walk away and be silent. It's how they handle it. And they usually pair together, aren't they? And it does this. Because one's screaming and one's walking away. I'm not doing it. Or the one screaming's done screaming and the other one, they want the other one to at least scream back at them or say something. They're like, I'm not going to do it. That's the way they were created. And the layers of the onion need to peel back, and they all got to keep going through the layers. But we want to fix that. And we got to go, God, help me understand that. Fix me. And that's the layers. That's just one example. That's relationship layers. We got layers of every other area of our life that God is constantly shaping and molding, and we've got to keep going. Help me understand that. Fix me. And maybe you get the gold star, the check mark, the smiley face, whatever you can throw up on your little bulletin board in you, and God goes, you're good. But let's work on understanding that. And it's a fascinating thing. And maybe some of the frustration we feel spiritually is not because God stopped working. It's because we step out of the process too early. It's, we know not to pray for patience, right? That's the Christian joke. Don't pray for patience because you're not going to like how you're going to get it.
You get tribulation.
So it's like, that's what's going on here. The scripture in Amplified in James 1 says, and let endurance have its perfect result. Do a thorough work so that you may be perfect and completely developed in your faith, lacking nothing. Whew, there's a lot there. We're just going to skim the surface on that one today, but there's a lot there. If the Amplified didn't make it deep enough for you, let's see what the original wording in the Greek actually says. Thought for thought that they translated that from. It says, allow endurance to fully accomplish the work it was sent to produce in you. Do not resist the process prematurely. Stay under development long enough for spiritual maturity, completeness, and stability to be formed inside your life. And I thought the Amplified had a lot there.
I like that one.
The original Greek wording has a whole lot more there than the Amplified. So when we're studying the Word of God, we've almost got to look at it like it's an onion. What are you trying to say? We interpreted it to our language. In the original language, what did it say? So that we can get it closer to what it's in our language. So there's so many layers to the Word of God. It's fascinating. One of those phrases, stay under development. Under development. It's like all the crazy road construction that's going on around here. It's always under development. It never gets done. So if I'm supposed to stay under development, I'm never left the way I am. He's trying to make me more like I am. It's a fascinating, fascinating thought. Because modern culture teaches people to escape discomfort quickly. But James teaches believers to remain under God's development process long enough for maturity to actually form. When we're praying, the question we got to ask, Lord, are you shaping me? Is that why I'm going through something? Are you allowing the enemy to test me, to shape me? That's why I'm going through something. Or in this scenario, am I supposed to be taking authority over what the enemy's doing and say no more? And sometimes he might not tell you right away. Because ultimately it all has to go through him. Even if the enemy's attacking you to attack you, God's going, you can do everything, but no further than this. But it's tough. He wants us to be in tune with him so he can go, this is an attack of the enemy, so that we can teach you how to put the wall up so the enemy can no longer get to you in that area. Because the enemy asks permission. Whew. It's a fascinating thing. He's not doing it for temporary emotional excitement, but real spiritual stability. So let's think about this. What if the process feels frustrating because it's working deeper than you expect? Whew. I don't know. You can be having a higher tone of discussion with someone, and If you're just going in the natural higher tone of discussion, semi-arguments going on and everything's fine, but then, boom, that one spot gets hit. And now it's a full-blown scrap argument because they hit the button. But why is the button there? Why does the button have to be the button? Why did the button become the button? Do we ever think about that? No. We just know, hope they don't say this because I'm going to lose it. Hope this doesn't get touched because I'm going to lose it. How dare they bring that up? And then it's no longer an argument, it's an irrational scream fest or a walk away fest or nothing gets healed. But do we ever ask, what did we do to make the button be there in the first place? What shaped the button and put it where it is? Is that the way our parents developed and we saw them doing it, so we just automatically do it? So it just, the button gets hit? Is teachers, school teachers, environment, is it the way you think you're supposed to do it? Why are the buttons there? What if the process feels frustrating because it's working deeper than you expect? Whew. That might change the way we start looking at some of the difficult seasons we're going through. Because remember, James says, let endurance have its work. Phew. Well, I don't want to go through. I can't go around, under, have peace and joy all the time. That means endurance is trying to accomplish something. God, I don't like this through thing I'm going right now. But what are you trying to teach me? Maybe if I learn how to tie my shoes instead of keeping putting the Velcro shoes on, this process will be a lot faster. Maybe I can skip a few grades. According to the deeper Greek thought reflected in the RIV, believers are warned not to resist the process. So is it possible that some of our prayers are resisting the process? Gotta think about that a little bit, don't you? Change this situation, Lord. Process. Change that. Process. Help them become more. Process. Whew. So maybe, instead of asking him to change the situation, Lord, why am I going through this? Am I supposed to be learning? Am I supposed to understand? Am I supposed to do this? And then when he goes, no, you're supposed to take authority over this situation and tell it no more. Yes, sir. Devil, you ain't allowed to play in this area of my life anymore. Get. Maybe there's a process. Maybe. Phew. There's emotionally, we're told not to emotionally pull away. I don't know. I like to stuff my emotions deep down tight, don't let them out. But he's like, well, maybe sometimes we just need to let it out. I hurt. I feel. Whenever you do this is why. This is how it makes me feel. The original Greek also has the condemnation of do not abandon development prematurely. The cake is supposed to bake at a certain temperature for so long to be a really good cake. But you know what? Instead of that 30 minutes that it's supposed to bake at such and such, I'm going to double the temperature and I'm going to bake it for 15. Is it going to come out? Possibly anything like a cake. It may just burn to a charcoal depending on what happens. I don't know. I've never tried it. I'm not planning on doing it. But I do know we like to speed things up. Are we trying to speed up the process that God's working in our life? The original also says that it warns us not to fight the stretching that God is doing in our life, that season of stretching. Because if we're not growing, we're dying. There is no staying the same. There is no status quo. We are either growing or regressing. Whew.
Are we going to be under development until we take our last breath?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Scott, like that little song that we used to sing, He's Still Working on Me to make us what we ought to be each day. Because sometimes we think we're overcome something, and we get a little bit thinking we've got it made, and then he kind of takes us back and says, look, you know, you're not thinking right, you're not, you know, and then God starts working on us, patience, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, when we're in school, we get the quiz, and we pass it, because the teacher just told us 10 seconds ago. But a week later, we might fail the test, because we done forgot what she said a week ago. So we got to take the test again. And we wonder why we go through the same thing again. Because we just told God, God, I got it, I understand it, thank you, and He'll pull it back. And the next thing you know, something similar will come right back, and you'll be like, why is this happening to me? I told you I have it. And He taps us on the shoulder and says, do you really? Because if you did, it wouldn't be bothering you right now. Why is it bothering you right now? What kind of onion do we got to peel off of you? Because it's bothering you for a reason. Because you said you had it under control. If you had it under control, you wouldn't have to come to me and say, hey, it's bothering you anymore. You'd be like, all right, these are the ABCs we got to do, and let's get them done. Something to think about. That's deeply important because many people unknowingly interrupt growth. The moment pressure lasts longer than we expect. This is taking too long. I know I asked for patience, but I did not want this financial pressure to last more than a couple hours. Weeks, months, years later. I don't need patience anymore. I think I'm starting to figure this out. We unknowingly interrupt growth when our emotions feel heavier than the situation. Your emotions will tell you a few things. If your emotions go crazy, then you need to go back to class. Did Jesus ever get emotional with any of the craziness that went on in His life? He was kind of status quo, even keel, even when they were taking Him to hang Him on the cross. Even when they were going to sentence Him to death. He was like, never defended Himself. Whew, that's tough. That's tough. He knew he was right. If you know you're right, why you got to defend yourself? That's tough. We unknowingly interrupt the growth because progress just feels too slow. It's just too slow. You need to change them faster. Change me faster. It's taking too long. We unknowingly interrupt the process because discomfort starts to increase. Stop. God, stop. Don't want no more. And since God's a gentleman, He goes, okay, back off. And then we got to go through it again from the beginning at some point. We interrupt the process because we're always, immediately, begin searching for the escape. I don't want to go through this. How can I get out of it? I don't want this situation, this pain, this hurt, this discomfort, this pressure. What do I got to do to get out of it? They start looking for emotional escapes. They start looking for mental escapes. They start looking for this spiritual special button escapes. Well, if I say the phrase this way, if I do the ABCs, I know if I say in Jesus' name. And we start looking for the formulas and the special button. Well, Rhoda did this, so if I do that, But honestly, the escapes and the trials happen in all areas of our lives. They happen in our relationships, our finances, our spiritual disciplines, in ministry, in emotional healing, and in personal growth. People often quit before endurance finishes developing what it came to build. How many athletes give up because the training is too hard? Why is there only, probably the number is probably well under 1% go into the Olympics because it takes them 8+ years to get to a 30-second event every 4 years? Because everybody gives up. They don't want to endure. Emotional tension we want. Maturity without a process. Peace without stretching. Stability without waiting. Wisdom without endurance. Breakthrough without development. But deep roots don't grow instantly. Sometimes the breakthrough is not escaping the process. Sometimes the breakthrough is finally remaining faithful inside the process long enough for God to finish what He started. Whew. Man. Personally, I don't like what you're doing right now. I don't like this process how we handle things. And I'm going to walk away, but I'll never leave you nor forsake you, because God never left me nor forsakes me. And I will learn how to be better. We've got to learn how to handle this better. But right now, I'm not mature enough to do it. I need to walk away. I'll be back in an hour or so, and we'll try again. It's a baby step. You're honest. My flesh is not happy. I'm gone. Got to go. My default mechanism that when my dad, every time he did it, he'd walk away and never argue. My mom walk away and never argue. My mom or dad screamed and hollered and did all kinds of craziness and called out every past fault that person had. I don't want to go there anymore. But it's trying to come out. I need to back off. I'll be back in an hour. See you at 3 o'clock. I'll write down 2 or 3 things. You write down 2 or 3 things and we'll slide the papers and say, well, I don't agree with this. Okay, why? I don't understand why you feel. Tell me why you feel. You know what? I've hit my button again. This is working. We're not killing each other anymore. But I feel the button's rising. Maybe we need to do this tomorrow. You write down 3 things. I'll write down 3 things and we'll start over. Because it's a maturing process. But there will be a day where you can look at the person and okay, please stop. I feel that there's some tension. I feel that there's something. Why? And you won't have to walk away because you've trained your flesh to go, You've trained your flesh to stop panicking every time the bank account comes and goes, woo, what? You've trained your flesh to not worry about what the boss says or doesn't say. Because you've took that time to reflect and go, God, why every time this person says this or that situation happens, my blood pressure wants to fly to the moon and I want to let the whole world know how bad they are? And I'm not just attacking the situation anymore. I'm attacking you and you and you. How dare you cut me off? What are you doing? I'm beeping at everybody. Oh no. And then when I get out of the car, I'm taking it to the family and kids. It's like, whoa, help me. Help me. What if God's trying to build completeness instead of temporary comfort? Whew. I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to sting. I know you ain't going to like it. But it's the best thing for you not to eat 5 gallons of ice cream before you go to bed. But if he can use ice cream like that, why can't he use anything else? All our past decisions piled up to this result. I know you ain't going to like what I'm going to have to do to fix all the layers of the onions and why you do the things you do. But we'll take one at a time and we'll just keep peeling away. We often judge seasons by comfort instead of by development. Whew. I must be doing good because everything's working. Maybe. Maybe you've just shut out everything else on what he's trying to teach you and you just said, no, not doing it. The RV says, stay under development long enough. Whew. It means it ain't going to be short. It definitely ain't going to be sweet. We're going to go through some stuff. See, that wording matters because spiritual maturity is not accidental. It's not accidental. Spiritual maturity is developed slowly, sometimes repeatedly, but very deeply. And James says endurance produces completeness. So if it's complete, I finally got the lesson. I may have to be reminded of what the lesson was, so I start to go through and I go, wait, that's the old pattern of life. That's the old me, the way it handles this. I don't do that anymore. Let's have a redo. Let me start over. Flesh is trying to come out. Completeness and maturity. Whew. And stability. No matter what's coming at you, you kind of even keel. You're not up and down and sideways and backwards and forwards. And man, do I ask for this? Because I don't know which person I'm going to get when I ask this. Do I let them know that there's a little pushback I'm feeling? I don't know what I'm going to get if I ask them that. I don't like what they just did. I shouldn't tell them that. I'll just deal with it. Because I don't know who I'm going to get. The crazy thing is, James says, all believers who are lacking in nothing. Lacking in nothing. That means no matter what's thrown at me, whatever situation, no matter if it's the master button pusher of all master button pushers, they can't get to it because I've done removed the buttons. And you let them do their spiel. And then you go, so what you're really trying to say is boom, 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 boom. And you're like, yeah. So the whole 3 hours you were arguing with me, if we would have just took 5 minutes, we would have been done. But you wouldn't let me get in there and say, so you're feeling this. How do I help you get through that? Lacking nothing. That doesn't mean perfect circumstances. It's not going to be perfect. It means internal preparedness. I mean, if we went to literal war and we won, we would analyze why we won. if we went to war and some things worked, but we got our butts kicked over here, we'd analyze why we did good here and not over there and come up with a game plan so that doesn't happen anymore and see if those strategies would work here. So the next time that comes up, I see you. You always go left and I'm expecting to go right. I got you now. I am prepared for when the battle. So when that opportunity comes and say, time out. I think what's happening is this. Why don't we try this? You write down your worst thing. I'll write down my worst thing. And we'll switch papers. We'll go away for 15 minutes. And we'll have a response. It's like, because I'm prepared. Whew. A rooted inner life, a stable faith, an emotionally developed believer. Whew. Man. How stable was Paul? You're going to die at some point. You're going to be beheaded by Rome. That's your fate. But until then, you're going to go through a lot of pain, torture. But keep going. So Paul knew every time he got on a boat, there's a good chance it's going down. I might have to do some surfing or some swimming. He knew every time he went into town, he's probably going to get beat. But he was emotionally stable, mature, and prepared because the endurance that he went through allowed him to say, yes, sir. I ain't going to like it, but yes, sir. I expect it. It's coming. The enemy's going to try his best to stop me from getting to Rome. But it ain't going to work. I know my purpose. Whew. And honestly, many people, believers today, feel emotionally fragmented because development keeps getting interrupted. They're so unstable. One day they're loving, the next day they're the worst enemy in the world. And you said the same thing. You cooked the same breakfast, you gave them the same lunch, you cooked them their favorite dinner, but that day was not the day. And they were just the meanest thing could ever. And probably because something happened at work. They remembered something that happened to them as a kid. And just the way something happened, it just set it off, and you just happen to be standing there. And you go, time out. You know, you normally like this. What's going on? Well, I had a bad, rough day. Let's have a redo. I'm sorry. I should have took it out on you. I should have went and processed somewhere. I should have came in the door and says, hey, I need 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes by myself so that I can separate the bad day at work from family so that we can enjoy life together. And you may have to do it going the other way. You may have to do it going to work. You can't believe what that woman or that man did to me. I don't understand. They got so upset about this or that. We start growing, but then we retreat. We start trusting. Yeah, but then we panic. I trust you, God. I know you'll take care of this. You're not doing it fast enough. Hurry up. We start healing, then emotionally shut down when the pressure starts. I'm not talking about that. Not doing it. Just ain't going to do it. Just leave me alone. But James teaches believers to remain under God's long work, long enough for maturity to fully form. Man. Some seasons feel repetitive because God's not merely trying to fix symptoms. That's what the whole doctor's thing's about. I'll fix your symptoms, but I'll give you 34 more other ones. If you take this pill, it'll fix that symptom, but it's going to give you 20 more. And then I'll have to give you 10 other pills to take care of those symptoms, and we'll just keep giving you pills for all these symptoms. Maybe we'll get a good combination where the symptoms won't happen. I'm just practicing on you anyway because I call it. I'm a practice. It's my practice. Come to my practice. Let me practice on it. I'll get the symptoms. Instead of getting to the solution, Well, if you stop doing this, you don't need this pill. And you don't have those symptoms anymore. But I love that. Keep taking the pill then, and you'll have all these other symptoms. It's kind of what we do with God. He says, if you stop doing this, all those symptoms, all those buttons won't be there anymore. Oh, you're just practicing too, God, so I'll just keep doing this. Just keep giving me the pills. I'll take the ticket. I don't want to mature. I want to be a baby Christian forever. Whew. God often works deeper beneath the surface long before visible fruit appears. That person you think's got it all together, took them a long time to get it all together. And if you have a good enough relationship with them, they'll tell you, I don't got everything all together, because in that area of my life, whoo, if you only knew. But I put a lot of effort in handling that joker so that our thing would be good. This situation would be good. And it took God a whole lot of work on me. I want you to think about these questions, and I'll go to the end because I ran out of time. What if season you're frustrated with is preparing you for a future version of yourself you can't fully see yet? Oh, that's a deep little question. And maybe that's the deeper challenge James given us. Not merely, can you survive the trial? But, can you stay in the process long enough for God to complete the work inside you? Because growth takes time. Healing takes time. You cut your finger, you put the Neosporin on it, you put the Band-Aid on it. You don't rip it off right away and go, hey, it's healed. That's a miracle. No, usually it still hurts for however long it's going to hurt, but eventually you forget to put the Band-Aid on and you look down and say, oh, it's finally healed. 3, 4 days, week, whatever, however long deep the cut was. But you put the Neosporin on it to keep it from getting infected and clean it up a little bit. And you put the Band on it to keep it from getting infected on it. You did what God asked you to do. Hey, I want you to put Neosporin and Band-Aid on this situation. But many believers keep asking this question. How fast can I escape this situation? How fast can I get through? How fast can we get over this? How fast can I stop? How fast can I start? How fast can I change? Yeah, while James is asking, what would happen if you finally allowed endurance to fully accomplish its work? Maybe the pressure is not proof God abandoned you. Maybe the process is proof as God's still developing you. And James, you're still working on me, because I'll be glad when you get off this process and start teaching me all that other hard stuff that's going to kick me in the butt through James. But this process thing is tough. You've been saying the same thing for the last 4 verses. What are you going to teach me next week? Let's get through this. We'll see. Be James 1:5 next week. See where he's at. But even in the process, he's just setting them up. Remember, he's talking about the process. He's going to start talking about hard stuff. Don't be anxious. Don't worry. Be a doer of the word and not just hearer. Does that have anything to do with the process? He's just setting them up. Whew. Anyway, see y'all next time.